All right, everybody, it's War Frog here, and I have a special guest today. Her name is Kathy Festa,
Correct.
and I'm calling her the Pink Lady. She has a pink motorcycle, and usually she's dressed in pink, and we had the opportunity to ride together. So I'm going to ask her some questions. The first question, though, is Kathy, is my mustache on point? Does it look great?
It does look good.
It looks
It's
fantastic. All right,
very
this is a
good.
new
Very,
thing for
very
me.
dapper.
So
Very
starting
dapper
learning.
for the birthday boy.
Yeah,
Very
thank you.
dapper.
I'm learning to put wax in it, so hopefully it doesn't poke you in the eye or anything like that. All right, Kathy, let's start off with the first easy question.
Okay.
Born and raised, tell us a little bit about yourself and
Sure.
you're a little bit where you're from.
Well, let's see. So I was born and raised in Iowa, and then
In Iowa?
In Iowa, yeah,
oh my
right.
gosh, another Iowa.
Yeah, I know, right? And then shortly when I was 12, my father was transferred to Minnesota, so I really claimed Minnesota home. That's where I was a teenager growing up, and lived my early teen years and teenage years, and then into my 20s, and then joined the Navy and left Minnesota and never went back. I always go back for family and stuff. But
how many years were you in the Navy?
I was in the Navy 23 years.
23 years. Thank you for your service.
Well, thank you. That was a pleasure. Well, pleasure was mine. And then after the Navy, I went to work for the federal government and worked there for another 14 years. And then when I turned 60, I said, that's it. I don't want to work anymore. I want to be healthy enough to do things and still to live my life. And so at 60, we retired and hit the road.
Which leads us to the next question. Is you started riding motorcycles, which makes an interesting story here, is you started riding motorcycles later on than what most people could. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Or?
Yes. Well, okay. So when I was young, when I was 10, 11, 12, I had a Honda 50.
Okay. So you weren't a complete stranger to two wheels.
So, all our friends, we lived in a rural area outside of Des Moines, and we rode the Honda 50 all over everywhere.
Where outside of Des Moines?
Just outside in Johnston.
We know Johnston very well.
Yeah. So we rode the mini bike all over there, and when we moved to Minnesota, it didn't go with us.
Okay.
So at that point, I transferred from motorcycle two-wheel to bicycle, and I bicycled quite a bit. Really well into, I still bicycle now, do a lot of long road trips and things, but never really let the motorcycle go. And then when I met Mark, my husband, he's a motorcycle rider, and he had a bike, and I said, that's fine. And I just got on the back and never looked back. Right. So, our entire marriage, he's had a motorcycle, and I've always just rode with him. But one of the things when I retired said, okay, this is chapter 3, what am I going to do? What can I do different? How can I challenge myself? And
this is at the age of 60.
Correct. Right? Yeah. And said, you know what? I want to ride a motorcycle. And so I told Mark, and he, about 7 months before I retired, he went out on a search and found the bike for me, and actually got it painted and did everything. His story it's a pretty good story what he did, and did it all a surprise. I had no idea. And when we got back to the States, we were actually living in the Czech Republic at the time when we retired, and came back to the States, and had to get a vehicle, but he wanted a truck. I didn't understand why, what was the big deal. But the real truth is because he was going to go pick up the motorcycle, my motorcycle, and surprised me with a pink motorcycle. And the uniqueness about the bike is not only is it pink, but the stripes that are on it are my fingerprints. So it's all unique to me, and custom painting.
We'll include some pictures of the bike as well. I'll get some better pictures. And now, why the pink theme? Is there a reason?
Well, pink for me is pretty, it's powerful, it's empowering. It's, throughout the Navy, I had a uniform. Didn't really get to choose what I wore or anything like that. And then through the federal government, really much had a uniform.
Green or blue.
Right, I mean, if you want to be taken seriously, you wore conservative colors and dressed conservatively and things. And when I turned 60, I said, that's it. I don't want it. I think pink is a powerful color. It's very bold. It shows strength. It represents a lot of really cool things. And I said, that's it, and so
I liked it.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. It looks great, and you're visible on the road. Now, was there any hesitation when you were first, hey, I'm getting on two wheels, getting on the highways, following Mark, I assume?
Yeah.
Always. And what were your experiences like when you were first starting out? And
that's a good question. Nervous. I was nervous. That's
and you were 60 years old. It had been a while since you've been on a little motorcycle.
Sure,
now you're on a bigger.
Yeah.
What kind of motorcycle is it?
It's a Yamaha 650 V Star.
Yep. Okay. And it's a
And
nice looking bike.
yeah, so I say nervous, but I think I was just unsure, right?
Anxiety
Unsure,
and that
right?
kind
Yeah.
yeah.
For him, it was real important that I take motorcycle class. I was like, well, you can teach me. You're the
I remember
motorcycle
him
guy.
mentioning he
Yeah,
had
and
you
he
take
said,
a Harley class.
yeah, he said, no, no,
Yeah.
no. Yeah, he's like, I'm not teaching you. You need
Yeah.
to take a class.
Yeah.
Took a really good Harley class. It was a real
Yeah.
good 8-week class.
Yeah.
They had us on 550s, but
I probably should take a class.
oh, you've never taken a class.
I've never
No?
taken a class.
Oh
It'd
my
probably be a good
gosh.
idea. Well,
Yeah.
you strongly suggest it for new riders.
Well, it's definitely for new riders. I mean,
Yeah.
we dropped the bike. They had us, figure
Pick it
out,
up.
yeah,
Yeah,
and get
yeah.
it, pick it up.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just a really good. It really built my confidence.
Good. That's the next question.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it helped your
yeah,
confidence.
it really did. And then it's been 5 years now, and I just went over 10,000 miles.
Yes, I remember you.
So
recall you saying.
yeah,
that.
just on our last ride, we did the 10,000.
You were elated.
Yeah,
I love that she's so bubbly when we ride. She's got this big smile. This is a person. When you get on two wheels, you're exposed to the elements. I've always lamented when I've looked at other they're trying to look like a badass, and nobody looks like they're having a good time. Yeah. Kathy looks like she's having a great time, and I'm like, one day I mentally chose and I just said, you know what? I'm happy. I'm not one of these biker guys that's just going to look mean and menacing. Yeah. I'm going to be smiling. And I didn't have a windshield at the time, so all the bugs in my teeth that kind of ended. I understood why people are frowning, and the bugs splattering on your face and in your teeth. I'm like, okay, maybe I shouldn't smile so much while my mouth is open.
Well, see, I wear a helmet.
Yes,
so
you do. Yes,
yeah. I think that's all about retirement, though, for me. Like, now nobody can tell me where to be, when to be, what to do.
Yeah, you were owned basically for 23 years.
Well, plus,
be here, be there, do this, do that. Now
so this life is just so much.
And easier. On a motorcycle, so there's so much liberty and freedom with that. Just go where you want to go, and here's a fork in the road. Let's go.
I didn't realize how much riding was. As a passenger was really great, right? Because I could look around, and I'd point out, oh, look at this, look at that. And he's like, oh, I'm paying attention. I can't look. We'd laugh about it,
Yeah.
But I didn't realize how empowering and how free being the driver on the bike changed everything. I'm a conservative rider. I don't
take a lot of risks.
Yeah, I don't. And I'm not a fast rider. I don't do Ferris wheels and roller coasters, all those things.
You're
right?
not on adrenaline,
right? So I really just the cruise. So I'm usually the one bringing up the pack when we're riding, but I don't care. I'm like, at the end of the day, they're all waiting on me, which makes me even more special.
So she's a novice rider, riding less than 5 years. But I've ridden with people that still didn't do as well as she does.
Oh, that's nice.
And part of the reason I noticed you were going slow around corners sometimes, falling. But on the straightaways, man, you were right back with us. Not everybody does that. You're able to pull the throttle and go. You have some confidence, at least in that.
Well, but it is a 650. So when I hit up to 70, 75, I'm like, like, come on, everything's rattling. And
now you had mentioned this earlier. And my wife and I have helmets, and we can talk to each other. But my wife rides with me, and she has no compunction ever to go on her own.
Yeah.
And when you decided, hey, I want to get on my own bike, what Mark was fully supportive.
Yeah, very much.
You had helmets, I assume you wore together. Once you got off the bike, did you have to change the communication system, or were you able to? You're still able to communicate on the bikes, and if so, what do you guys talk about?
Yeah, wow, that's a good question. We do same communication. So we do talk on the bikes.
Yeah.
We have found that some of our most deepest talks happen on the bike.
That's me and Tess.
Yeah,
as well.
Because we're riding, we're paying attention, and we can give thought to what we're talking about. Yeah, I mean, we've had some pretty good talks.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but Taff and I have great conversations. We finally get a chance to catch up. She works all day. I'm goofing off all day. Finally, we get on the bike, put our helmets on, or if I'm wearing a helmet, I don't always wear it, but if it's adverse conditions, I like to wear it.
Yeah.
Or if I just like to chat with her, so we end up just having great conversations. And
there are times when Marcus said, "Hey, can we be a little quiet?" It's like, how about if we just take it? I'm like, okay, I get it.
So can you listen to music on yours?
We can. I choose not to. Mark does listen to music. I don't. As a hiker, bicycle rider, motorcycle rider, I choose not to but it's about taking in the environment around me, right?
Yeah.
I mean, some people go, "Oh, is it a safety thing?" I'm like, well, maybe subconsciously,
Yeah,
I
part
don't
of
know.
it. Yeah.
But it's for me, it's more about I really just love being in the moment.
You're
Like I'm
absorbing everything.
really, I just love like I love early morning walks because I love the noise of the city getting awake. I
Yeah.
love being out on the ride and looking and seeing and just all those senses,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Mark does listen to music a lot,
Yeah.
but I don't. If I did, it probably would be classic rock and
Yeah.
70s 80s stuff, right? But it just isn't something I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I love it I do love it when we pull up and there's other riders and I hear their music and I'm like, man, maybe I do want music. I'm like, no, I'm okay.
Yeah, that leads me to another question. So, as you're riding and you're learning, have you gone on some of the rallies? Have you gone to some rallies or poker runs or certain rides that have around the country that are known for the roads? Have you hit any of those?
Yeah. So, being in this lifestyle of full-time RVing, we run into several people that are motorcycle riders, and we've done big group rides. We did a fundraiser in Indiana, a really neat one for a children's home. That was really special to me because a real good friend of ours, she actually reached out to us and said, "Hey, I know you're going to be here. Come on, do this ride." And it was my first real fundraiser ride
How many bikes were
there were 150.
Isn't that fun? Just all the roar of the bikes.
Yes. And what was cool to me was like they briefed me and my friend's husband, she knows I was a novice rider. So she's like, he goes, "Look, don't worry about the lights. I got the lights. You go. Just go." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He goes, No, you just go through it. We stop the traffic. I'm like, "Seriously?" He's like, yeah. So it was really cool to me. It's like you're rolling through like, "Hey, that's us." That was kind of cool.
It is part to be. I've done a few things like that where there's so many motorcycles and everybody's so nice. Everybody's working
Really
together,
nice,
and it's a community. Or you're some of the nicest people you'll ever meet. You'll hear me continuously say that throughout these videos. But it's the bike enthusiast crowd is a great crowd.
They really are, and really welcoming. Like I thought it was going to be kind of cliquish. Like I mean,
hey, we got Harleys. You don't
right,
get out
right?
of here.
Right. But I think my pink bike kind of catches people off guard, and they always want to know. A lot of people at first initially go, "Oh, is that a Harley?" And then we're like, "No," and they're like, "Oh, okay," and then they But some other rides we've done is the $1 Million Highway. We were out in Colorado and we did that.
Oh, you did that?
That was really cool.
I've yet to do that yet.
Oh my gosh, that was a really good ride. And then we did prior to me getting a bike, when we lived in Europe, we did a ride the Alps, which is in Garmisch, Germany, in the Bavarian Alps. And that was a really neat, that has probably,
do you speak foreign languages?
I do. Yeah.
What languages?
I'd speak Indonesian. Yeah.
Indonesian, that's going to help you in the Alps.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, yeah. There, I can speak probably 6 different languages of, "I'd like a beer. Where's the bathroom? And good morning." I can say that in a lot of languages.
That's awesome.
The Bavarian Alps ride was a rally, a weekend rally, and that was gorgeous. And I was a passenger, so the views were spectacular. Just spectacular.
That's when Tabitha and I first rode through the Black Hills. Have you rode through the Black Hills?
We have not. We have it on our plan for this fall.
Good. Well, we'll be there, so hopefully we run into you. But Tabitha and I were the first time going through the Black Hills, and we're going through the switchbacks up to Iron Mountain, and she goes, "Oh, that was beautiful. Did you see it?" I'm like, "No, I'm paying attention to the road. I didn't get to see it." As you're driving yourself, now that I've rode it a few times, now I can look around. And I'm used to it, that kind of thing. But when you're a passenger, you get to see so many different things.
Yeah, we've done the Blue Ridge mountains.
Yeah,
we did
another
the Blue
one
Ridge,
on my to-do list, my bucket list.
Yeah, so we were posted in DC for a little bit. So, and again, I was a passenger, so my views were spectacular there. Yeah.
Awesome.
So we've gotten 2 years ago, we did Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and we did all around the 2 Great Lakes, and they have a road called the Road of Trees or the Tower of Trees or something. That's terrible. I can't remember what it is, but it was just gorgeous. It was probably about 10 miles of nothing but canopy of trees, I think it's called. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was beautiful.
I did one similar to that in Florida. 10 miles of canopy trees, which is cool to do.
And then just Southeast Asia rides through there, really neat. And then I mean,
riding on other continents, what a wonderful thing to experience. Man, I'm envious of you for that.
Don't be envious.
and then what was another question I got for you here? Let's see. Did you have any during the course of getting on the road. Bad experiences yet? Any
Uh,
wipeouts or wrecks or?
well, no, praise the Lord.
Yeah, good.
Haven't haven't had it. I think it's because I'm just am such a cautious rider.
Yeah,
You know,
same with me.
yeah, I'm
I've
just
never
a
had an
really, and
accident.
we
A big
don't.
part of it is like you said, just being.
Yeah,
My dad gave me a bit of wisdom when I first started. Ride like everybody's trying to kill you.
yeah, right.
Yeah, keep your
Yeah,
head
yeah,
on a swivel.
yeah. I
Just
mean, you really
yeah,
defensively.
yeah,
And we don't use our, like, you guys use your bike a lot more for daily transport too, right? I
yeah.
mean, like,
We
yeah.
put like I don't put mileage on like
Mm,
Amy does,
right.
but we
Yeah.
put over 10,000 this
Yeah.
last year. It's our only mode of transportation, and I thought that was quite a bit. How many miles do you put on a year? Do you know?
Well, okay, so
So you just
5 years,
got
so
through
about two a year,
yeah,
2,000 a
which is
year. Yeah.
normal.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
old bike, I used to get about 3,000 when we lived at
Oh,
home.
yeah.
It was about two
Yeah.
or 3,000 a
Yeah.
year. But once you're like you're on an RV, it's my only vehicle.
Yeah.
Or,
So we have the smart car. So we get around with the smart
the
car and
smart
do
car,
that.
yeah.
But we don't. I think that's another reason why, is because I don't use it as a daily commute.
Mhm.
So when we're going out on a road, we're going out for a ride, and so we're going to do the Hill Country, Texas. So we're going to do
The
something.
Twisted.
So
Have you
yeah,
done the Three Sisters yet?
we
Yeah,
have,
that's
we have a
absolutely.
really good friend of ours that lives on the other side of San Antonio, and he's a avid rider, has
Mhm.
several bikes. And last summer, or this time last year, him and his wife rode out here and took us to Three Sisters, and it was a beautiful day of riding.
It's a
Really
great
cool
place.
day. Yeah.
The only thing that's harrowing, really, about the Twisted Sisters, I think, is you're riding on. Oh, here comes some twists and turns, and there's a sign that says 26 people died here.
Yes.
And you're like,
yes.
well, I don't need to know this.
Yeah, that was it. And our friend made us stop and take a picture of it. I'm like, why do we want this?
I've never seen that before.
Yeah,
Everywhere I've
yeah.
been through, I did see while we were going through Beartooth Pass, grizzlies in the area.
Oh,
I didn't need to hear that.
right?
Either.
Exactly. It's like going to the golf course and they say snakes. I'm like, this is not what I want to hear.
Yeah, I guess it's a warning.
Yeah. So
any future? How long are you here for?
So we're here till the 1st of May.
1st of May. So you'll get to ride in this area. Then from May, you'll go where?
We head north.
North.
So our goal is always to chase 70 degrees.
Yes, I remember you saying that. I love that. I love that saying, chasing 70 degrees.
Yeah, we're not very successful at it because it's been kind of cold here, actually.
It was 48 this morning.
Right. Yeah. So but that's our goal. We'll be doing, and this year is full of family stuff. My husband's father, turns 90 this year, so we're going to spend some time there.
Yeah. I think Mark was telling me his dad is very sharp.
Oh, crazy sharp. Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Yeah. I mean, if you meet him, you're like, oh, you're 90? Wow. Yeah, he's really.
And Mark, now let's talk a little bit about Mark before I let you go.
Sure.
Mark is, I got to meet him, down at the hot tub, and we got to talking. We went right with Amy. I think the guy is awesome. He's been pretty supportive. Yeah, I bet. Yeah, you kind of have to. Living in a small little box on wheels, you better get along, or you're going to find out real quick the relationship isn't good. And you guys have been married for how long?
37 years.
37 years.
Yeah.
And he has been pretty supportive of you riding. Now, has he said, "Hey, let's go do this ride," and you don't want to, or have you about everything he suggested? You guys work together to figure this stuff out.
He's the leader in the rides, and
he's been riding a long time since he was like 14.
Yeah, and he's had a motorcycle our entire marriage.
Yeah. And you could tell he's a good rider.
Yeah. He picks the rides. He is really good at knowing my limits, but what he knows really well is how to push me to that. Yeah. So when I reach a point where I'm like, I don't think I can do this, he's real good about that talk to get me to do it.
That's awesome.
Even if, like, for instance, this is something small, but we stopped for a hamburger somewhere, and the drive was a little hill,
steep,
and gravelly, and
I don't like those either.
And the highway wasn't real busy, but busy. And so he had already went over on the other side, and I was like, I can't do it. And I started to back up, and he was real good about, nope, you don't say, he's talking in my ear the whole time, right?
Yeah. That's wonderful that you guys are
you got to do it. Yeah. Come on. And he walked me through, let up on the clutch. You can do it. Use your foot brake, so he knows my ability, and that I trust what he's saying to go for it. Right.
And he's a sharp dude.
So, so it works, it works for us. Like sometimes you said, like I catch back up on the stretch. Sometimes he's in my ear going, come on,
Yeah.
you got to catch back up,
Yeah.
drop it down a gear, bring it back up, so he walks me through. And then sometimes I just want to go, shut up, I got it, because like if we're coming around, he'll go, okay, counter steer, and he's sometimes like, I don't need this in my ear right now, but he's real good about helping me with that.
Tabitha and I leave here shortly, soon.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we'll get another ride in with you, but you'll be here next year? Or?
Yep, we'll be here
so
next
hopefully
year.
we'll get a ride with you
good.
next year. And then let's see, what else, other thing, I think that basically covered it. Your future rides that you said you had.
Yeah, I mean, our future rides is we plan the
Anyone
Black
that you had
Hills in the
dreaming
fall.
the Black Hills in the fall. So maybe we'll catch you with that.
Yeah, I want to do Dragon's Tail.
Oh, I haven't done that either.
I really want to do that. So some friends of ours that are full-time, they have a trike. They just went to a trike about 4 or 5 years ago, but before she was a rider, she rode as well. And they did Dragon Tail. And so we spent...
It's 11 miles long.
See,
it's in Tennessee for the people that don't know.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
2 years ago, we spent the summer with them riding all over. That's why I said we went up to Upper Michigan and we rode all over with, there were 5 of us and we all had bikes and was, 5 couples. Yeah. And that's what every evening when we came back from a ride, they talked all of them had done Dragon's Tail and they talked a great deal about it. I was like, put that on my list.
From my understanding, it's a state park, so there's no residences where people can pull out in front of you. I don't think they allow commercial trucks on it as well.
No commercial trucks, that's correct.
And so you just zoom it. A friend of mine, his only complaint was there was the guys on the bend over bikes wanting to zoom through it, and if you're trying to cruise,
I will say I don't like that. I don't like, and again, when we're talking about as far as a rider, I don't like to split traffic.
Yeah.
I don't.
I don't do that. I think it's rude.
This is why people don't like motorcycle riders. That's what I think, right? They're like, look at so I just.
Whenever you see the bad motorcyclist videos, it's usually
that guy's
that goes those little bend over crotch rocket bike guys, and you see that those 26 death signs. I wonder how many of those were you guys just being reckless on your little fast scooters. Now I've got on one once, and I caught myself. I'm like, what am I doing? I looked down. I was doing 80, zooming in and out of traffic. I'm like,
tells you to go fast.
I turned into one of those assholes. That's what I did. That's what those bikes do to you. Yeah. It's just too much power. It's too much of that. So so this bike. You're going to keep this bike forever? You got any bikes that you would say, man, in the future, I'd like to have that kind of bike or anything like that?
No, this is the bike I'll keep till if we feel we reach an age physically where we say, well, maybe it's time to go to a trike, or something.
I'm
maybe
the same
then,
way. Can-Am
but but this is it. I love it's, I know you could change out the fenders to another bike and different things, but I just like the size. I'm fine. I don't need anything bigger. I don't, I'm fine with it.
All right, good. Well, hopefully we'll get another ride in before we leave. If we don't, I will catch you next year for sure, Kathy. Yeah. On future rides, we'll hopefully get to a nice little group together, Amy and John, and we'll all get to have a good time. That Bent Grill place, have you been to that?
We have. Yeah, that's really nice.
There. Yeah, I enjoyed that place. You get just a good group of people. Your little doggy, Hazel, gets to ride with you.
She does this. Yeah. Well, she was just new at it with the ride with you. Right, was her first ride.
Well, and you took her for a walk the other day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is she grown already?
Yeah.
She's already looks like her legs have gotten.
They have. Yeah. I mean,
it won't be long, and she's going to get.
She's crazy. So she'll get 40 pounds.
And it's some kind of Hungarian hound.
Yeah, she's a Vizsla, Hungarian Vizsla.
And I can't even spell that. So, but she's going to get big enough. Now, if you see her getting 30, 40 pounds, you guys still going to find a way to get her on the bike?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I hope so. I look forward to seeing that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it's all about. I mean, she's training to be Mark's medical alert dog, so he wants to keep her with him all the time anyway.
Because he's got the diabetes.
Type 1 diabetes.
It helps with the
glucose.
She'll detect when he's low on sugar.
Right, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Dogs are amazing.
Yes, they are. They're our man's best friend. Have you ever heard that?
Well,
All right, Kathy. Well, thank you.
This was fun. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you for spending time with me.
No, I would do like this.
All right. It's like Hulk Hogan. No,
that's right. No, that's right. It's been a pleasure. Good luck with your channel.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And hopefully we'll get you on here again when we go for another ride. So
we'll see. All right.
All right. Thanks,
Bye.
Kathy.